Hey, everyone, it's Isaya. Welcome. This is another episode of Isaya's Inspiring Evening Podcast. Welcome. So, tonight we're talking in a kind of a rather new series called The Broom, the Brush, and the Beyond. And it is obviously a conversation with a guest. You can see I have here, or if you can see the video, you might see that I have the amazing Megan Mary, who I will introduce in a minute. So it's a conversation podcast, and the series is about the intersection of art, spirituality, nature, mysticism, galactic origins, ancient traditions, paganism, forgotten rituals, and mythology. Right? So usually we record these conversations live, and then they appear in my podcast. Tonight we have, as I was saying, the amazing Megan Mary, and the title of the episode is Dreamwork for Personal Growth and Self-Discovery, which I love. Hey, Megan, how are you?
Hi, Isaya. Thank you for having me.
That's all right. So let me introduce you before we start digging into the topic. So you are a metaphysical author, dream analyst, women's dream enlightenment podcast host. Oh, I'm gonna go and come into your podcast as well. So let me read your bio for people who don't know you that well. So Megan Mary is a metaphysical mystery author and dream worker that specializes in the analysis of women's dreams to promote transformative personal growth and enlightenment. She is the founder of Women's Dream Analysis and the Women's Dream Enlightenment podcast. She's an intuitive, introvert, and mystic. After being diagnosed with three chronic illnesses, she experienced a spiritual awakening. She now works with women all over the world, offering dream interpretation, transformative journeys, and enlightened guidance. She lives in Idaho, in the US, with her husband and two cats. Her debut fiction novel, The Dream Protectors, a metaphysical mystery, will be released in October 2024. Voila! A lot, a lot of things. I love it. And being an author myself, I'm going to ask about your fiction at some point. But let's start with your main work and the topic of this podcast episode, dream. So, what is dream work? What does that mean, first of all?
Yes. So, dream work is really for me, healing modality, self improvement, self development modality, where you work with the messages from your dreams, where
Mhm.
you start to learn how to tap into your subconscious and your intuition and the messages and the information that are coming through the stories of your dreams from your universal self.
Awesome. And we're talking about sleeping dreams, like not, oh, I have a dream to travel to America, right? We're talking about
Correct.
actual
Yes,
sleeping
nighttime.
dreams, nighttime
Yes.
dreams. Awesome. So how did you, become a dream work specialist?
Yes.
Have you always been a dreamer?
Yes. And so going back to when I was a child, I always had wonderful flying dreams that were just
Ooh, I love
amazing.
that.
And I also had recurring nightmares.
Oh,
And I really wanted to know why I was having those, where I was going when those were happening, what the purpose was of them, and why we spend so much time sleeping and dreaming as humans. And it really fascinated me. And of course, I was also a lover of story. So I studied literature at the collegiate level. I really wanted to delve into mysticism and mythology and astronomy and philosophy and all of those esoteric arts to really try to get to that unknown, those mysterious aspects of our existence. And for me, dreams really were part of that. And I didn't pay attention to them I would say, probably till I was about a teenager. And then I stopped till I was way into my adulthood. And then when I became very ill, I realized that I needed to do some spiritual healing, that it wasn't just body healing that I needed. I needed that mind, body, and spirit healing. And that's when I started to meditate and open up that doorway again and realize that there was a lot of information coming through my dreams. And when I opened to that, a lot of messages came through, one of which was that this was my calling and what I needed to share with the world.
Awesome. So it's always been there, but you still needed a kind of reconnection to it at some point in your life.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I'm very curious, so how do you analyze dreams? What is dream analysis? Do you
Yes.
go at the what I would call the traditional Freudian, you dream of flying, you dream of dying, or things like that I must have read somewhere at some point.
Sure.
Or is it deeper? Is it personal, or is it general? Like, does it? Oh, sorry. Let me rephrase this question. Although it's very specific, but anyway, you're going to go in there. What I mean to say is the dream of flying, for instance, does it mean the same thing for everyone?
It does not, and it's very personal.
Oh, okay.
So while I do understand and appreciate Jung's contributions, because he really felt that dreams were the royal road to the subconscious. And he really is the one who coined the phrase synchronicity. And he is the one who said that let's look at the symbology of the dreams. And so I really do appreciate his contribution to that, but I take it a step further, and that's why I call myself a mystic, because I really look at the spiritual aspect and the interdimensionality aspect of the dream world. And I really say to people, break up with your dream dictionary, because as easy as it might be to look up one piece, one part, I dreamt of a bicycle, I dreamt of a bird, you're looking up those tiny little pieces and you're getting this compilation, this aggregate of information from different cultures, mythologies, things like that, but they're not necessarily meaning anything to you, because the dream didn't come from there. It came from your subconscious. And so the meaning is also so unique to you, to your experiences, to everything that you've compiled in your library of your mind. And so the method that I've devised really gets at that personal meaning, and it casts aside the universality. Although we all are spirits having a human existence, and although we are all sharing this planet in a similar way of existing and living, the commonalities of our dreams stop there, because when we look at the details, they're all going to mean something different to the dreamer.
Yeah, to an extent, from what I'm understanding, if I was to have a similar dream twice in my life at very different times, it might mean two different things.
Yes,
so
because your experiences have changed.
Exactly. So even
and your perspectives may have changed.
Same person, it might mean different things. So I mentioned while I was reading your bio that you work with women. Is there a particular reason you don't work with men or with
There's a couple
people who don't identify as women? Let's put it this way.
Yeah, there's a couple. And the first is hormones, because women have a different set and level of hormones than men do. And estrogen actually plays a role in dream recall. So women actually tend to be higher dream recallers than men, and they also tend to write more detailed records and accounts of their dreams. Patricia Garfield has a book called Women's Bodies, Women's Dreams, and it really explores all the different connections between the biology of women and how that affects their dream world. And so that's really part of the reason. Also, just being one myself, I felt that was really who I was called to help and could help the most.
I love that. I didn't know that about the hormones, which I love. I'm going to talk about that with my good friend Lisa, who we've been talking about female health. We're talking about the hormones, how they're very pregnant, not pregnant, but in kind of all over our bodies. But I realize they're now also all over our subconscious, which is amazing.
Yes.
And what are the benefits? Why should I come do a dream analysis?
Yes. So I call it the ultimate in women's self care because I
Oh,
really feel that it is one of the ways that we can actually calm down all the chaos and the noise of the outside world and take a moment to actually look for that wisdom within. So often we are running from one seminar, one book, one guru to another, and we're not listening to our universal self. We're not acknowledging the wisdom that we've come here with, that we have access to. And the answers lie within, really. They're just whispers until you're willing to listen to them.
so it's about just like the earrings that you are wearing. If you guys are not watching the video, we have the keys already,
You do,
and
yes,
we need someone to
exactly.
help us open the doors, and that someone
Correct.
would be you. So
Yes,
you came up with a method, right? Is that the
yes,
dream mirror method? And
yes,
can you tell us a
it
bit
is.
about it?
Yes. So it's basically 4 steps and it's a really simple process. They are memory, mood, mirror, and metaphor. So the first step is memory, and that's really where you just want to start remembering your dreams, which I found out when I got into this is not actually the easiest thing for some people. Some people don't remember them at all. And being a person with very high dream recall, I was quite surprised by to find this out
Mm.
in the beginning. So really it's the to cultivate the habit of starting to keep a dream journal. It can just be a journal in the beginning if you're not remembering them at this point. And then start writing in it before you go to bed. And then start writing in it when you wake up. And get into the habit of starting to record that and to have that really intent to try to remember your dreams because dream recall is like any other practice, whether it's yoga or meditation, it's a practice. So you have to make it a part of your daily life and you have to put down that intention for that to be of importance to you.
So
When you
sorry to
write down your
interrupt.
dream, oh, yes,
Sorry to
yes,
interrupt. I'm this person who doesn't remember her dreams. So,
okay.
um, does that mean anything? The fact that the
Well,
simple
it's
fact that I'm
some
not remembering.
yes. So sometimes it means that you have subconsciously turned off your dream recall without meaning to consciously, you at some point decided subconsciously, I don't want to hear that message, or I'm not listening, or I'm not ready to
Mhm.
receive that information. And so it can be turned back on,
So it can
which
be
is the
just
good
as you're
news.
saying. It's like a practice, right? So I
Yes,
can help myself remember, putting an
absolutely.
intention and doing the practice.
Hmm.
Because that's part of the
And
thing that I was
yes.
going to ask is, um, does that mean that anyone who doesn't remember their dreams cannot work with you and cannot benefit? Oh, tough, So
Right, and this is like I said, something that I realized at once I started with this. Well, a lot of people don't remember them. Okay, and
mm,
so that's why I have a course that will teach you the methods of dream recall. It starts to help you cultivate that practice, and it's also why I started doing sessions of just metaphysical mentoring, basically, where I can speak with you and guide you on all different kinds of metaphysical topics, dreams just being one. So
mhm.
if dreams isn't something that you have as part of your life right now, and maybe you're interested in integrating it, or you're starting to see synchronicities, or you're curious about other things, I can also help you with that. So there's a number of ways that you can come at it, but the one of the most important things is when you write down the dream, if you do remember it, to give it a title. So as if it were a story, what would you call it in a couple words?
I love that. I love that idea. So that's still part of the first part, memory,
Yeah.
right? Sorry, because I
Yes.
interrupted. So please tell us the other three.
Yeah, no problem. So the second step is mood, and that's basically where you want to look at the emotions that you're experiencing before, during, and after the dream. Most importantly, during, but it's also very important after. So writing those down and just observing those, because those can be signposts as to the meaning and the message of the dream. The third step is called mirror, and this is really where it very much differs from a dream dictionary approach. This is where I serve as a mirror to your subconscious, and I ask you a series of questions that draw out the information from your subconscious. So we look at things like the people and the places and the situations and the actions and all the little details, whether there was weather or numbers or colors or all the different aspects that make your dream unique. And we look at them separately and then all together. So we don't just pull out one thing.
Yeah, it's not like, oh, there was a snake there, so the snake means that. That's it. Bye.
Exactly.
Because for me, that
So
was always kind of too simplistic. Let's put it this way, and I found
right.
it not helpful. So I love that there is a way. What was coming from me while you were talking is you feel like a midwife for the subconscious.
Oh, yes.
I love that.
Yes, exactly. And I love that metaphor as well. It's something that allows you to look at the whole rest of the scene. Okay. So, all right. So, and don't gloss it over. This is where you don't want to be summarizing, because even when you write it down, then once we get into session, I'm going to ask you questions and you're going to say, now that you said that, actually the house reminded me of the one I grew up in, and actually the person was a childhood friend, and blah blah blah, all these things that you're going to start remembering that you didn't write down.
Yeah, because I remember in a time in my life where I was really avidly writing my dreams, and most of the time I felt that my words were not big enough, that I could not put everything in there in my words. So yeah, I can imagine very nicely how having someone like you kind of interrogating and asking other questions would enhance the recall.
It does. And it's a process of pulling that information from the subconscious into the conscious. And it's a very mystical process. It's a very ethereal thing when you're experiencing that, because there's almost like this veil between it, and you're pulling those threads. And the more you reveal, the more you remember, the more it reveals itself.
Awesome.
So the last stage is metaphor, and that's where we look at everything that you've discovered, that we've uncovered, and then we look at how is that a metaphor for your waking life. So what does this story tell us? Is it presenting a problem, or is it presenting an opportunity? Is it presenting a solution? Is it giving you a message for something you hadn't thought of before? Is it telling you something you need to pay attention to? So all of those, there's so many ways that dreams can try to send us information in a healing way. And it's really taking the time to pay attention to that, to harness it.
So does that mean that we can do this work with a single dream or with a repetitive dream? Because I remember having dreams that are, coming over and over again, mostly nightmares, to be honest. So does that mean that these are more kind of insisting to be heard because they repeat themselves?
It does.
Or
You're right about that. Yes. So yes, you can do it with just one, and there's a lot of insight to be gained from doing it across multiple, especially with the recurring, because as you said, a recurring dream keeps coming back because the message isn't being heeded. So whatever the message is, it will try to reconfigure itself, but it will keep coming back. And sometimes you'll have the same theme across multiple dreams in one night, all different stories, all with the same theme. Or sometimes you'll have a recurring theme dream over a course of time, it could be years.
Yeah.
And so, one of the ways that it's interesting when you start recording those is to look at, oh, it's another one of those dreams. Okay, what is similar about it to all the ones I've had before? And then what's different? Oh, I
Oh,
was
yeah.
in that same place, except this time this happened.
It was winter, or it was summer, or it's this other thing happened.
Yes.
I love that. I love that. You know that. And just to make to clarify, when you say messages come, in fact, it's me talking to myself in my subconscious, trying to be heard, right?
Yes.
Maybe with some help from whatever, the universe.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So
And it can also be spirit guides or past
yeah.
loved ones, or yeah.
So you do dream sessions, right? And
Yes.
so what you've talked about, the 4 stages, I don't know how you call them, the 4 M's that you mentioned, do they happen in one session? What happens in your sessions? How are they organized? Let's put it this way.
Yes. So in a dream session, basically, I have the dreamer submit a dream to me beforehand, and I do all of the decoding. And then when we get into the session, I actually reread it to you. And then we start from the beginning and we dissect each piece as we go through it. And I ask all those different questions as we're going through it. And then at the end, we see what the revelation is, what the enlightenment opportunity is. And then I do something called dream integration, which
what is that?
is really how okay, so you figured out what that recurring nightmare is about, but now what do you do? Now,
Yeah.
how are you supposed to make it stop? Or how are you supposed to not be upset by it? Or how are you supposed to move forward in your life and have this be something that can contribute to your own self-discovery? So the dream integration steps can be a variety of healing modalities, from affirmations to journal prompts to sound healing. And so I really like the sound healing piece and its integration because it allows you to basically entrain or your brain waves to raise your energy in a way that allows you to release the emotional foundations of that dream story. So depending on what you might be struggling with, you might want to listen to a certain hertz frequency music that could help you heal in that respect. And so the affirmations also work really well, the journal prompts, and they just help you integrate that knowledge so that you can reflect on it and start incorporating consciousness about it in your waking life, which is then going to reflexively affect your subconscious life, your dream world. And as you start to acknowledge those intuitive hits, then you start to see that your dreams start changing.
So kind of once the message has been received and really heard and put into action, into whatever practical awake life we're concerned, then the message, it does not need to be repeated anymore in the same way, and I can proceed to have new dreams.
Exactly, yes.
I need to hear more things. But I'm guessing because on an anatomic medical point of view, all of us, we dream every night. That's because if you don't dream, you die. That's what I've read. Even if you don't remember it, it doesn't mean that you're not dreaming. So even if I work with you and clear up one repetitive nightmare and I'm good with it, something more might happen that needs or that is calling for my attention, basically, and that is a pathway to personal growth.
Yes, and that's why I call it dream empowerment, because of course you're going to continue to dream. People have 3 to 5 dreams a night. You're going to have them throughout your life.
Hmm.
But isn't it more empowering to learn how to tap into them yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So why do you call that the ultimate self-care?
Yes, because I really feel that we're here to understand our existence and to improve our evolution, right? And the way that we increase our evolution is to increase our spiritual intelligence. It's the more that we can recognize the separation between this world and the other worlds, and that it's just an illusion,
Mm-hmm.
the more we can understand where it is that we came from and where we're going. And it gives more purpose and understanding to really the life that we have to live here.
And so this life becomes happier, might I say, or more.
Yes,
The more I know myself, the more I can travel joyfully through this life.
yes.
At least that's how I see it. And I love the
Mm-hmm.
idea that dream is the ultimate self-care. Now, you also talk about dreams being helpful or catalyst for creativity.
Yes.
Being an artist, I want to know everything. How can I, tell me.
Yes, yes. So many famous artists and writers and inventors throughout history have used the dream world to fuel their creative fire. Albert Einstein invented the theory of relativity from a dream. The sewing machine was invented from a dream, and countless movies and books have been invented from dreams, including my own. And so it's a treasure trove of endless storylines and fantastical things to really tap into. And you can also ask your dreams questions. And so if you are struggling with a creative project or you want a new solution to something, you can write that in your dream journal before you go to bed. And it's what's called dream manifestation or dream incubation, where you can actually ask a question. You're basically posing it to your subconscious, and then observe what stories come through, what dreams you have. And it might not seem obvious at first. Well, I don't see how that one answers my question at all. But when you start to pick it apart and really analyze it metaphorically from a symbolic level, you might start to get that aha moment where you recognize how it is an answer to your
Mhm.
question.
Awesome. So we're talking about the stories of our dreams being inspiration for creativity. Um, at this moment, I don't seem to be remembering a lot of my dreams, but there was a period in my life where I did, when I did. And another part that for me was always an inspiration for creativity was my dreams were a little bit like movies. So there were colors and there were almost paintings that were ready to be painted in there. So I just want to mention that also, that for people like me who I'm a very visual person, even my subconscious is very visual. And so I remember being able to paint what I had dreamt, basically. Not as in I dreamt of a rabbit, I'm going to paint a rabbit, but the atmosphere, the colors, the energy of my dream would be transferable to a painting. And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one. I was thinking about René Magritte, who is a French painter. He used to paint pipes and crazy things, or what's his name, who painted the Salvador Dali, who painted the mellow clocks. All this seems
Yes.
to me coming from a dream as well, literally as an image from the dream path onto the canvas.
Yes,
But
I love that. And
sorry, go on.
oh yes, there is a whole area of art that is that people do create art from their dreams. I'm actually a member of the International Association for the Study of Dreams, and at their annual conference, they actually have an art contest where people submit works of art that are entirely based on their dreams.
Oh, I love that. Amazing. So you were mentioning your novel that
Yes.
comes from a dream. So the Dream
Yes.
Protectors, is it right? Is the title correct?
So I changed the title since I submitted to you. Yes.
Oh,
And it
okay.
is
So
actually
new
the Dream
title.
Haunters. Yes.
Ooh.
Yes.
And
So
so it's I don't know when you're listening to this, ladies and gentlemen. We are recording in June 2024. So in October of 2024, the book is released, right? Can you tell
yes.
us how we can get it, what it's about, a little bit of promotion, please?
Yes. So when you go to my website, which you will be able to get in the show notes, meganmary.com, you'll see my book is there. It's not on sale yet, but depending on when you're listening to it, it may be. It will be available in ebook and paperback and hardcover and audiobook at Kindle and Amazon and all the other retailers as well.
Wow,
I'm going
amazing.
to go wide with it. And it's basically a metaphysical mystery of magic, really. And that's the subtitle. And so it's a story that blends my love for Halloween and dreams with a young woman's story of her self-discovery and her spiritual awakening.
I
And
can't wait. That seems
it's
like
really a
my
fantastical
jam.
journey. Yeah. Yes.
Well, that feels like my jam. I'm really excited. So the Dream Hunters, right?
Haunters, like haunted house. Yes.
Oh, haunted. Oh, sorry.
Yes.
My English is. Let me remind everyone, English is my third language, so sometimes I get lost in translation.
Yes.
Sorry.
Dream haunters. Yes.
So you do dream work, but it's not the only kind of work you do, and you kind of believe, I think, that any light worker can integrate dream work into their practice, provided they know what they're doing, obviously. Why?
Yes.
Why should they? Why
Yes.
is it a thing to
Yes.
do dream work amongst other things? Let's put it this way.
Right. I think it's just another modality that healers can add to their toolbox to help their clients to really overcome those subconscious blocks. It's so many of us work with, whether it's Akashic Records or it's Reiki or it's mediumship. There's so many different ways that you can try to access that wisdom, try to heal your human condition, try and heal the way that you are perceiving as well as experiencing your reality. And dreams is one of those fabulous ways to approach that in a very holistic way. It really helps you merge that subconscious with the conscious for a more holistic awareness.
I love that. So it's kind of a huge toolkit that you can add to your array of tools when you are a light
Yes.
worker. And I think it's really interesting to. I was writing about that the other day, to stop compartmentalizing light working. It's like, oh, if I do Akashic Records, you're only supposed to be doing Akashic Records, or and I think that actually, if we want to be of help to our clients, it's the more tools we have, the more we can help. It's like speaking different languages. You can communicate with more people.
I agree with that completely.
So, how can people work with you? What do you offer? Is it, how can people, like normal people, like normal women, or light workers? Do you have specific
Yes.
plans? Tell us everything.
I do, yes. So let's see. First, I have the courses. So I have one that's Women's Guide to Dream Decoding. That's just for anybody, any woman that is curious about improving their dream recall, how they can use dream analysis for themselves. And then I have one that is for light workers. That is really that course expanded to help light workers understand how they can integrate that into the work that they're already doing. Then, of course, I
And
have
I'm
dream
going to
sessions.
interrupt again because I do
Yeah,
that. I forgot to say,
yeah,
obviously, all the links to everything that you're mentioning will be above or below in the show notes. You will find Megan's website, but also her socials. And please, please go and visit them. Sorry.
yes, yes. No, please do. In it, then I have the dream sessions, which you can do individually to give it a try, and then I also have series of 4, which I call journeys.
Hmm.
And then I have programs where I have 2 different dream empowerment programs. One is a integrating the sound healing aspect, and
Hmm.
one is awaken abundance. So it really works with bringing you into alignment with your higher self and universal knowledge so that you can bring abundance into this life. So it helps you over the course of, both of them are 90-day programs. The abundance program really helps you understand what your calling is here.
Hmm.
And when you arrive at that, then I integrate all of my career digital marketing experience and help you launch a podcast or a website to bring that message to the world. The other program is really helping you really implement that sound healing aspect and working closely together over those 90 days to really delve into that dream world and really use that to heal yourself. Now, I also have my podcast, which is Women's Dream Enlightenment podcast, and that is everywhere. And on there, I have guests come on and tell their story of spiritual awakening. And then I also have guests come on and share their dreams, which I interpret live on the show.
Oh, I love that. So yeah, go and listen to Megan's podcast. You will find again all the links below or above. And you know what? I'm really curious. Let's say you go back to your 20-year-old self. Would you have ever imagined that you would be earning a decent living and, doing dream work? Because it's like, did you actually dream of that? you know,
I
awake, I
think at
mean.
a subconscious, I think at a subconscious level I did. It's so ironic when you look back at the course your life took and the different things that you ended up doing that you thought had nothing to do with each
Mm,
other.
yeah.
So when I was that age, I was interested in possibly going into broadcasting. And there were no podcasts
Yeah,
then.
obviously.
And I loved stories and I was good at writing and I ended up, getting my master's in English literature instead. But now I
Yeah.
understand how
Hmm.
the writing and the podcast went together.
Hmm.
And there's so many other pieces to that too. I ended up picking up the web in career and really starting to make websites from the very beginning and thought, well, this has nothing to do with those other 2 things.
Hmm.
But it
But
does.
yeah, I know the feeling. I'm the same kind of person that has done billion things that looked like they are unrelated until, well, they are actually related.
Mhm.
Or at least we can weave our own tapestry of making them related.
Yes.
Um, but I love that you were still a dreamer, little girl. That
Oh,
you had the
yes.
dreams. Um, I believe, I'm 50 something and I have children, and I believe that children need to be dreaming way more, awake and asleep, but that they are very, it's a difficult world they are jumping in. And as a parent, I tried very hard to help my kids dream big, dream small, dream, whatever. And so I love that it can be a career. It's like, yes, yes, absolutely.
Yes, there's so many careers for light workers. I found an amazing list online recently and I thought, "Oh, yes, yes, yes." I mean, there's so many different ways that you can really bring your light to the world
Yeah.
basically
Mm.
and regain that connection that you had perhaps in childhood where you really
Yeah.
believed in magic and spirits and the ethereal realm, that you believed it was true, and as an adult you kind of lost that, and you're kind of told, you got to put that aside and you got to do this real world stuff. But it really, the real world stuff is just an illusion.
Well, at least it doesn't have to be the limitation. It doesn't have to be a limitation. Now, another
Yes.
thing that I wanted to ask, and maybe we're going towards the end of this conversation, is you mentioned briefly, also in your bio, that you had a spiritual awakening after being diagnosed. And I wanted to discuss also that, because we're talking about children and encouraging dreams and people to have light workers careers. You don't have to go through that with the suffering, do you? It's like we can help. If you go and work with Megan with your dreams, you can maybe avoid the scary diagnosis part and go straight to the spiritual enlightenment.
Yes, it's so many healers are wounded healers, and there's a lot of cultures that believe you actually do have to endure some hardship to gain that wisdom. But I think that the better course is to really recognize that emotionally our health is very much intertwined with our
Yeah.
mind. They're not separate systems. And you may have heard the phrase, the issues are in the tissues. And when you hold your emotions in your body, that's energy that you're holding in your body. And it will create what is known as dis-ease.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't heal and
Yeah.
address those things.
Hear the message of the body again.
Right. And so hopefully and ideally what we can all strive for is to really avoid having that crisis to begin with by doing the work from the beginning and learning that what I call dream appreciation and doing the self-care and
Mm.
doing the spiritual growth so that you're not in that denial
Yeah,
state
it's about
that's going to
listening,
lead to that.
right?
Yeah,
Listening to the
exactly.
messages when they are just whispers and tiny, and so that the body does not have to go on and scream very
Yes.
loudly.
Yes.
For me, it's a big thing to remind myself of that we do not have to suffer to grow, and it's part of my mission actually to help women go through the thing with the least possible suffering. I'm not saying we don't live in Mickey Mouse land where everybody's happy all the time, but it it doesn't have to be painful. And I love that we have the keys in our heads or on your ears for yourself, and that it's about listening, and getting help with a specialist so that we can learn to listen. Maybe we can end with helping out people who are just beginning, like me, to try and remember their dreams. So, what's step number one? Before we even come to you, what can I do in my little bedroom to help me listen to the messages of my subconscious?
Yes. Step number one is when you wake up, pause. So when you first wake up, don't get up and think backwards. So think about where you just were, who you were just talking to, what you were just doing. I often say that it's much like when you walk into a room and you've lost your quote unquote train of thought and you say, wait a minute, why did I come in here? What was I just going to do? And you have to retrace your steps mentally. Jog your memory is another phrase for that. And that process is very similar to that first step in dream recall. Because instead of moving forward with your day, grabbing your phone, jumping out of bed, give yourself that middle moment that I call it, where you're just lingering in that space and try to think back to what you were just experiencing. And many times you'll get just a little hit, just one little thing. It could be a song or a person or a place or an object. And when you focus then on that thing and you hold it in your mind's eye,
Mm-hmm.
then sometimes more comes out. Oh yeah, that's right. I was there, and then this happened, and oh, and before that this happened, and it starts to reveal itself backwards, and you start to really remember a lot more of it.
I can really feel how I'm not doing that. How when I wake up, it's immediately I have a kind of a list of what am I supposed to be doing today. So I'm in the
Mm-hmm.
future.
Right.
I'm not in the past. I'm not even in the freaking present. I'm already in the future. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you so much. I'm going to go and
Yes.
investigate myself. I love that. Thank you very, very much, Megan, for being a guest for this episode. We have been talking 45 minutes already, so time flies. Do you have anything that you want to add right now, or do you feel that you've talked about the whole topic of dream in this limited 45-minute time?
Yes, the only thing I would add is to listen to your dreams, and I would encourage everyone to go check out my book when it comes out. It's actually a three-part series called Witches of Maple Hollow. Maple Hollow is the land of eternal autumn where the books take place.
Ooh, I love that.
And it's going to be a wonderful series, and hopefully all coming out within the next year. The first one will be coming out Halloween US because it's set at Halloween, and that's my favorite time of year. So
Oh, I love that. I love that. I think I know what I'm doing in October, reading books, which I'm a
yes,
bookworm anyway. So thank you very
awesome.
much. I'm also an
Yes.
author, but later I'll talk about that later. So thank you so much again. If you're listening to us, remember you can find all the links to Megan's website and socials and everything under in the show notes or everywhere. Please go and check her out, if I may say so. Sorry, I know that's not very polite sentence to say. Check her work out. She is amazing. I'm really very honored that you agreed to come as a guest. Thank you so much. And well, I will talk to you all very soon. Bye for now.